Welcome to Race Night, folks. I'm your host, Luke Lanker. We got a good one here for you tonight. This kid's ran everything from strollers to sprint cars. But before we get started, still keep our thoughts and prayers with Sue. And I seen she was out this weekend with some friends, so she's definitely getting out and about. But keep her in your prayers. All our servicemen and women. This weekend's the opener at Lincoln, the icebreaker. So if you ain't got nothing else to do, or even if you have something else to do, cancel it and go to Lincoln. The Outlaws canceled for all weekend due to rain, so you definitely got no excuse to stay home or stay up late Friday night. So get out there. There's probably going to be some of them invaders coming in. So want to thank Superior Homes for their sponsorship here at the station, Brandon Glorioso and Mark Worley for everything they do. And just remember, you want to call in at 717-334-3000. You can call in, ask Tyler some questions, or Facebook Live, whatever's easier for you. But anyway, thanks for coming on, Tyler.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Luke. Thank you.
This is Tyler Brehm, not Brehm. But where are you from?
So right now I'm outside the Reading area, but I kind of grew up, really it's called Bucktown, but like Southern Pottstown. It's just like a nice rural farming community. That's where I grew up in. So just kind of been moving around for jobs and stuff, and kind of found home right outside Reading. It's called Exeter.
Gotcha. And what do you do for work?
So I work for Precision Finishing. We're based in Quakertown, and we have a second location out towards Pittsburgh. We work in the metal finishing industry, so deburring parts, media blasting parts, stuff like that. We do washing projects, and we make like our own compounds and solvents and stuff. So
Powder coating?
no powder coating at our plant, but we work with powder coaters. So if somebody wanted to send something in, we can do that, and it's kind of all in one order. And then once they're done, they just go pick it up by the powder coater.
Gotcha. All right. Well, so you're running a 358 sprint.
Yes. Yep.
Full time at the Grove.
Yeah, that's the plan. We're gonna hit all the Grove shows. Can't let Derek win them all. So,
Yeah, no kidding.
we're gonna focus on that. We'll try some stuff. We're gonna go to Path Valley. We really enjoyed that. It's been one of my favorite tracks since I've ever raced there. And I think John and them they're really doing a good job. And yeah, we loved that race. It was just nice because it was something different for us. It wasn't this big half mile that it's critical that the car's straight. I could more feel like the driver was able to do something in the seat. So yeah, we'll do that. Some Grandview shows, and I think we're going to trek up to Clinton County a couple times this year.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've never been to Clinton County, but everybody tells me I got to go check it out.
It's beautiful track. Been there with 270s and 600s, and always had a good time. So the guy's running now, he's doing a pretty good job, and they get a good fan base up there. I mean, we were up there for a special fair race, and I mean it was a packed house.
You started out in quarter midgets.
Quarter midgets, yes. Yeah.
And you worked I know you got like 30 divisions under your belt.
Yeah,
you definitely worked your way into the 358s. You think it was easier to transition from each ride, or? It's
just a natural progression, really. The quarter midget is probably a good starting spot. It's really a line in the sand if somebody's going to go and do go-karts or quarter midgets. So we did the quarter midgets because a lot of the stuff was just close to home. And then from there, we borrowed a car from Stevie Buckwalter to kind of get my feet wet with the micro stuff, and then ended up purchasing a 600 and did really well with that. I didn't have any 600 experience or anything. Jumped right into it, and Greenwood Valley was our home base, and we were probably within the top 5 almost every race. So everything went well there, and just kind of got to the point that my parents were like, hey, we really can't do this. So you got to try to figure it out on your own. And here we are from then. So it's been a long journey. A lot of people have helped me, and you're never going to forget that. And I owe a lot of gratitude towards that. So, to be where I'm at now, I'm very fortunate.
Yep. Your parents still a big part of your racing, or?
Yeah, they help me with all my safety equipment. So they're like, if you're at least gonna do, we can make sure you're safe. So they're actually retired down in Florida. So I got them hooked up with Flow, and they're in Dirt Vision. So they're always tuning in every time we're racing.
Telling you what you did wrong.
Pretty much, yeah.
You ran AORDC midget?
Yeah. So I did that. I raced for Jim Jackson. He's up way past the mountains towards the Poconos, and then Jerry Stord, who's out towards like Berwick and Sunbury. I competed for that, and then actually also guys close to home was Kerry and Dyke Becker. That RT Racing. I was a teammate with Trevor Kovalarz for a little bit there.
What year was that? What year did you run?
I ran from 14 to 16, and then that's when that kind of was fading out, and just timing wise, I got with who I'm with now, Steve Riccioni. So a lot of my focus just kind of went to that because we were racing every week at Lindis then.
Gotcha. And you raced it. They said you raced the Chili Bowl.
I did, yeah. So I'm very fortunate that I've known Stevie for a long time, and it just kind of came about that he knew what I was doing, what I was trying to accomplish, and he's like, "Why don't we take you out there? Let's see what we can do." And so I did that from 14 to 16. Won a heat race out there, made a prelim A main, got up to the C main, and it's a tough deal. I mean, you learn that you think you're good at home, and you do that, and you're like, wow, these guys are competing at a whole nother level. So I think it was very beneficial for me to understand, how those guys race and what they're doing in their cars, just to even watch, being behind them and coming home and just being a lot better.
Yeah, I know. I watch the Chili Bowl every year, and it's amazing because like Alex Bright's probably one of the best wheelmen in Pennsylvania when it comes to anything wingless, and he goes down there and I mean, not struggles, but he's not. He's not like he is here. You see him. Yeah. Here you turn the thing on, you look for Alex Bright in the top 3.
Exactly.
Down there, you're looking for him in the top 20. Like it's.
Well, and now being that so many people go, an E main is an A main anywhere. It used to be the joke was a C main was an A main anywhere, but it's just getting better and better. And guys are bringing more cars, bringing better equipment, and it's just getting tougher. I didn't want to say it's, if you got to have a Stanton or, a Toyota, but it just seems like that's where it is now. And, but if you get an off night there where it's real slick and those guys can't hook up, somebody can come up through. I mean, there's been numerous times, in underfunded teams, been able to, lock in or, kind of work their way up on Saturday through, all the preliminary features.
Gotcha. And then, you ran a 305 for a while before the 360 or 358?
So I actually did that like coincide. So Steve and I, when we were running the 600, we were just sitting there and, we're talking about what we want to do and, where we want to end up. And, we're trying to, say, okay, if we try to get better in the 600s, this is what it's going to take, or, do we move up? And with him being a longtime supporter of the Zemco team, with John and Zamitis, I mean, he's been on that car since early 2000. So, it's always been a goal for him to, have a big car in the central PA area. And he's like, let's just do it. We'll figure it out as we go. So now we're gonna, like I said, gonna be in our third year here, and it's going good. I'm not saying it's definitely not tough. I mean, it's a big jump, and I think at the micro point, you as a driver can just kind of manhandle it more if it's a little bit off, where you're clipping off the lap times that you do at the Grove or Port, and 700 horsepower like what we have, and it's just you gotta be right, especially at those places, because they get technical and they get slick. So the shock program's got to be right, motor's got to be hitting on all cylinders. So it's been good though. Like I said, we're really anxious to get into this season.
How do you think last year went?
It was good. I think it was right timing because we had a lot of struggles to learn what we were doing wrong and to get better. And we have a lot of help. I mean, just knowing, I get to talk to guys like Ryan Han and Adrian Schaefer, and it's been good for us to kind of go, well, this is what we've been doing, and them to kind of say, well, this is what worked for us if you want to, try that, or hey, stop running the tow truck lane. You need to get
Yeah.
up top.
Yeah.
So it's good. I mean, Derek has definitely made the mark of, where you need to be, especially if you're going to the Grove. And to know that, we were one of the guys to really kind of race him, I think we'll be there this year.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you can't take nothing from Derek. Obviously, you went undefeated at the Grove, and
You don't have to remind me.
yeah, I think you got to race with Wilbur a little bit.
Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah.
He probably seen you more than you've seen him, though.
I think so, yeah. No, they've come a long way with that 59 car. At first I think, it's the same thing. It's a whole new deal, but towards the end, I mean, Steve was running right up front in heat races, so it's been good.
What do you think when you see him walking through the pits? Like, what runs through your mind? Like, how? Like, how's he get in there and he can't even
I just
walk,
wonder how many cheeseburgers he's got stashed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he gets 2 at a time.
Yeah, well,
But
one's just never enough.
yeah, I know there was a guy come up to me, he's like, was that guy really racing? That was last year. I'm like, because he got down, his knees are all, so he's kind of like grabbing the fence as he was walking. I'm like, yeah, it's Steve Wilbur. He's like,
Well, he tells me he's Superman, but I haven't never seen him
yeah,
fly.
he's not that super. Oh, I've seen him fly. But normally he's in a car. It's not so super when he's
Right.
done. But yeah, he's a good guy.
No, and Steve's great. I think he's a guy. He'll help anybody when they need it. I've seen him numerous times at Path. Pitching in if a guy's got a front end folded up and But he's been around. He knows the struggles. He knows the woes. So.
Yeah, and he races on a budget too.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a big elaborate team or nothing. He just now finally got an enclosed trailer after he ran an open trailer all in there.
Spoiling himself.
Yeah. Well, he's still got that junky 59 in there. But what are your goals for this year? I mean, like,
Beat Derek. No, we really. I mean, the Grove's our focus. I know where we ended, so really there's only one way to go up, and we're gelling really good now. It's nice to come off, and we're already on a path of what we're doing next, instead of just saying like, okay, what do you think this thing needs? And that's what's probably been good for Steve and I, is he's very good at seeing what a car's doing. Where I come off, I say, and he's already kind of on the same path that I was thinking. There's some times where he's like, well, let's try this, and most of the time I'm like, I'm game. It's close enough that it's not something totally off the wall. And it's nice. He values what I'm telling him. I try my best not to tear anything up too much, but also be pretty aggressive on the track. And so I mean, we want to do well at the Grove. I mean, we're not seeking the championship, but if it happens, hey, great.
Yep. Steve Wilbur has a question actually. He says, "You ever get the itch to run any USAC East Coast shows with the 358?"
We did. Just with the schedule that those guys put out, we don't really have the means to do that traveling. I'd love to do it again, but I just think it's going to have to be with with somebody else. I mean, we've just built our team around being a winged car in Central PA of hitting 358 shows, 360 shows. So it's not that you can't. It's just when you try to do both, I feel it pulls away from
Yeah, and there's a
the
lot of
wing
stuff
side.
to change from.
Yeah.
So, but you plan on running every race at the Grove, you said.
Yep.
And then you're branching off to both of them at Path, the 358 shows.
Yeah, so we'll do both a Path. We're going to do the Grandview show with URC. I think that'll be a double weekend for Grove and Grandview. And then, like I said, we'll trek up to Clinton County there. And if there's anything else that pops up, if we lose a race, we might stop over at the BAPS at the end of the year. I know Bill Devine's putting up some good money for that show, so it'd be nice if we can go and support that.
Gotcha. So, any races or events you're really looking forward to this year?
Yeah, I'm after this Bath Valley shows. Just how well it did. I mean, everybody that I talked to seemed to enjoy themselves there.
Except Wyatt Hinkle.
Yeah, that was a little.
Yeah, he didn't enjoy himself.
No, but I think he still had fun.
Yeah. He was still smiling at the end of the night.
So, but no, I think it'll be good, and I think if John gets the support, I don't foresee him, not having us. So, and now seeing the influx of people buying 358s. I mean, there's a lot of wing sportsman guys that are, coming, especially like Bill and Frankie. Rumsey's are moving up. I mean, there's Dave Conrad as well. So, there's going to be some people into the class, and I wouldn't say we're thriving, but I think we're definitely getting to the point of getting our base built up again.
Yeah, and one thing to think about Path, I mean, they are, every year they're doing improvements.
Yeah.
Like we're stuck up there not stuck up there, but we run up there all the time. We get to see them. And it always, like I talked to John, it sucks for them too because they're so far out that, there isn't a whole lot of businesses around there that'll benefit, they don't think so. But yeah, that's going to be fun to watch. I love watching I know John Walp was on the other week, and he qualified as 305 to run the 410 race up there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good track where it's not a motor-dependent place, and, somebody just knows how to get around there. They should be pretty well.
You set it up a lot different than the Grove? I mean, other than gear?
Gear, a little bit torsion bar. We definitely try to get more bar split across the back just to, kind of get the car.
Do you have a good bar guy? Like, who tests your bars? Do you have anybody that's good?
Some Zach Nolan. But
Oh, that's all you got?
that's it.
Yeah, Zach was on the other week. He knows his shit about bars. I mean, he's on it, so.
No, it was fun working with Zach, and it's good just because he's seeing things from everybody. So just what he's gaining in knowledge and understanding. Hey, this is what I'm seeing with this bar manufacturer versus this one. And I think the biggest thing that helped us was learning to time bars. It was cool to see on the dyno just flipping a bar and going, wow, that's dramatically different. So it's stuff like that it's so important, and it's not one big thing's not going to change it. It's a bunch of small finite things that lead up to getting the car right.
Speaking of the bar timing and stuff, he taught me. Well, he started putting that line there. I'm like, why do you put that line there? He's like, oh, it goes in your split. I never knew that. What I mean? Like the star on some of them. I'm like, and it makes a big difference. But we got a caller actually. So.
Oh boy.
Welcome to race night.
Hello, Luke. How you doing?
Well, we can barely hear you there, Robert.
I can hear you too tonight.
Yeah, we're doing good. We got Tyler Brehm on here tonight.
I want to ask you a question, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
What kind of track do you actually like? Do you like dry stick or wet stick track?
Depends what size I'm racing on. If it's small, I want a big curb, but if it's high, wide, and handsome half miles, I want that thing dry slick.
Oh, there you go. That worked too for you.
Yeah, no. So it's just different flavors, and especially a place like Pass or any bull wearings, it's fun to get up top and kind of get the front wheels up coming through the corner.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you another question too, though. Do you have like when you're not racing anywhere, do you have like another hobby that you like to do?
When you're not racing, do you have another hobby you like?
Not really. I've definitely molded my life around racing, but no, it's good at home. We have 2 huskies, so we try to get them into parks and run them out because they're hyper dogs. But yeah, other than that, I mean, we definitely like to get to the beach if we got an off weekend too.
And how long does it take you to actually build a car, usually?
Like put one together?
Yeah.
A lot longer than it takes to tear one apart.
That's true. No, I mean, if you're thrashing, like if you got all the parts, I mean, they can definitely go together and probably a full work day. So, about 9 hours you can get one going. But when you're trying to make stuff right, I mean, you're getting some weekends together and trying to get cars together.
Can you build one for about 8 hours?
I would say, yeah. Yeah, about 8 hours if you got all the parts there and got guys there thrashing with you.
And one more question before I get out of here.
All right.
And who do you think my driver is right now?
Oh, that's got to be a 17B, right?
No.
Who's that?
The 13B. Steve Buckwater.
That's right.
Yeah, that's the one.
He used to drive one of Steve Buckwalter's cars, Robert.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Yeah, we did the Chili Bowl together, Robert.
Ah. Well, when you come the first time, you should park next to us.
Well, we're on the outside of the pits. We got to find a way to get on the inside. Got to step up in the motors.
All right, then. Talk to you guys next week, then.
Yep, talk to you next week, Robert.
Thanks, Robert.
So, yeah, well, I guess that answered some of our questions.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you have like crew you want to?
Yeah, we definitely have some dedicated guys. You know, it's a little tough in the week because everybody works. You know, it's me and Steve for the most part, and then his stepson Chris. You know, is working on tires and stuff, and then Steve's got some buddies, John and Clint, who I mean they're pretty much there every race. You know, it's good because Clint has some experience with some racing in the past. So, you know, if we're like, hey, can you get this on the car? You know, can you change this? We know he's there. And John does a good job. I mean, he's our guy of, you know, getting tires on and, you know, getting the mud off. And it's a lot because, you know, when I get out, I'm there, I'm ready to divulge and figure out what we're going to do next, you know, get ready for the heat race or the feature. So, you know, it's nice to know we have guys where I'm not chasing after everything myself. And it does. It's a group effort. You know, being a solo guy, I mean, it wears on you.
Yeah. Yeah, it takes an army, but, you know, and the run as much as, and the Grove too, like that's a track where you don't want to miss a loose bolt.
No, yeah, we're big time fanatics. Like, you know, torque wrench comes out, stuff gets checked. You know, if we're pulling a torsion bar out or changing a shock, you know, we're making sure it's tight.
We had touched on Dave Conrad earlier, and anybody don't know Dave Conrad, he owns Sledgecraft Chassis, and he's building sprint cars and sportsmans, but I used to help him on his wing sportsman. His first Consi win at the Grove, and we struggled. You know, we were low buck. He was low buck, and we didn't have the motor everybody else did, but we went and had fun. But he was starting on the pole in the Consi. Only 6 cars went out, so they checkered it. And he came in, he went on the scale, and the front end collapsed.
Wow.
He forgot to tighten the Heim jam nuts up, and they came loose, and so he got towed off of the scale. But me and Steve are always busting his balls. Like, hey, remember your first win? But luckily it happened there because, you know, if that would have happened out in the track, that would have
that would have been good.
been now. So, what's your favorite racetrack? You have a favorite?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot. I definitely have a love for Grandview. You know, of just being at home and really racing a midget there was just amazing. You know, me and Stevie talk about all the time that a 3/8 mile is probably the best size racetrack for anything. It's not too small where you get kind of crowded or, you know, a lot of stuff gets torn up, but it's not, you know, a half mile where, you know, you're just kind of flat-footed around the place. And it's a racy joint. I've enjoyed, you know, places like East Bay. You know, I ran micros down there. I wouldn't say I'm obviously not partial to the Grove, just, you know, because of the history. And I think just how mentally tough the Grove can be. You know, you definitely see guys where it kind of drains them out. I mean, you look at guys like Shane Stewart. I mean, he used to hate the Grove, and then he sets the track record there, and Joey Saldana. I mean, I don't even think Brad Sweet likes going there. But once you kind of learn what you need there, then you're like, oh, now it's like to my favor. So
I think Donnie Schatz likes it, and so does
Gravel. I think Donnie likes it a lot. Gravel gets around there good. He's impressive to watch.
Where's Biddleford Speedway?
Seaford, Delaware. It's almost like 4 hours from that. I mean, it'd probably be 5 from here.
You raced micros there?
I ran a Speedster there. So I did run a Speedster a little bit, and then they had like a really early race. I think it was like March 14th last year, and so we went down there, and we were pretty quick. I think we were like 4th quick, doing the time hot lap thing that they do, and ran 2nd in the heat to Stevie, and we were battling. I think like 1st to 3rd there, and we had overheating problems, and you know I hate staying out there if I know it's something that catastrophic.
Right.
And,
yeah.
You know, it's already going to cost the guy money to try to, you know, make sure the head's not, you know, warped and put a head gasket in or something like that. So, fortunately, we had to pull off. But very neat facility. They've definitely added to it, and I think, you know, it stinks that they are that far. But if they keep making improvements, I think they'll see the support.
Yep. And how long have you raced for? You said for Steve, you raced how long for?
So I actually started with him in 16, and it's actually by like a little bit of misfortune. He was racing with his son, And the first race at Linda's, he got stuffed in a wall and big wreck. I mean, knocked out, shattered his leg, everything. It was no good. And so it's actually a funny story because he was like my first car owner. We were at Honeybrook one night, and his nephew was stuck at a soccer game. It was like going into overtime. He's like, God, we're not going to make it. So he came over and asked us. He's like, hey, you want to try this out? And it's just very neat that it came full circle. So really, 16, I was only there for fill-in just until his son got better. And then me and his kid talked, and he's like, you guys work, and I don't want to mess that up. So I'm very gracious that Stevie Jr. let me have this seat, and it's like I said, it's just kind of.
Now, Stevie Jr. still race, or he's?
No, but he's there. He's there in the background. I mean, he's watching us, and when he can get to the Grove, he does try to get out. He works third shift, so it gets a little tough trying to get to the Grove and then go right to work.
Yeah, so that's cool. I mean, it came. Well, what would you run for him at Honeybrook?
Yeah, and quarter midgets. Yeah.
Quarter midgets. Mm-hmm. You didn't have a car that night?
Oh no, we were there, but with that you can run multiple classes.
Gotcha.
So I just had the one that I had, and Steve liked kind of like the little bit faster classes. So he had like what's called like a light mod and light beast and stuff. So I think it was a light mod at a time, and I never drove it. So of course I'm like, I'll be right in there. So it was cool.
How'd you do?
Not too good. No, I think the vibration definitely got to my arms. I wasn't prepared for that, but to now, like I said, to now come full circle and have the successes that we had, it's really been neat to be a part of it with him.
All right. You got sponsors and stuff you want to?
Yeah. I mean, Steve's our biggest one with the auto body. I've had, like I said, a lot of people just little by little, and it's built from there. A couple out in Indiana, Jimmy and Laura Light, they own Horsepower Inc. Can't forget Jeff and Amanda Furlong. They do wonders for us of getting cars ready for powder coat. When I was at DMI, Dave and Adrian were a really big help at helping us get some parts. So I was really thankful that they stepped up, and just people like TQ Fiberglass. Another guy who's actually local to us just started his own detailing business, Justin Rodachok with Lasting Impressions. Kelly and Sam Unger, she's a realtor from over there, and they support our efforts. So, like I said, it's just been little by little, and nice one this year. CSI actually came on board with us, so we're going to be working close with them. So I got to thank Garrett Andrew for stepping up and supplying a shock package for this year.
Gotcha. Now, Newland, does he hook you up with bars? He's cheap.
Yeah, no, he did right by me. Now he tested all our bars, and it was just good to gain that knowledge, to kind of learn what I'm looking for and explain to me what a bar change is actually doing. So he's been a silent partner, we'll call it that.
How about CSI now? Are they going to help you with I race, but I don't have a shock package. I have numbers on them. That's it.
So what we were working with was all straight valves. So there weren't anything adjustable. And so Garrett hooked us up with single adjustable fronts and double adjustable rears. So we can actually change both the downstroke and upstroke, the compression and rebound.
Now in 358, can you do that from the cockpit?
No. So Grove rules, no in-cockpit adjusters or anything. But it's nice to have because now we have kind of a broader range to work with on our spectrum instead of going, all right, I have only 2 left rears. I'm kind of liking now. I can really kind of fine tune to what I'm feeling in the car.
All right, well, we're going to go on a break here. Like I said, folks, if you want to call in, 717-334-3000, or get us on Facebook Live here and ask any questions you got. We're on here with Tyler Brehm. We'll see you in a little bit. Welcome back, folks. Here with Tyler Brehm. Anybody's got questions, 717-334-3000. Don't forget to call in. It's a family show, so try to keep it, PG. If you have any questions, you get on Facebook Live. If you don't want to call in, and we'll find out a little more about this guy. So we were talking about your shock package. You got good bars. Who builds your motors?
So our motors are done by Seth Grenable. He's up in Beaver Springs. If anybody, kind of knows history, Fred Grenable was Doug Wolfgang's crew chief on the Weicker car, and Seth's his son. So it's pretty neat. He's very, very smart. I think the biggest thing we like about him is, he does right by us. If something doesn't need to really get replaced, he lets us know, like, hey, the crank still looks good. Connecting rods still look good. It's not just, hey, let's just throw new parts at it. Because I would definitely say, the 358 guys, we're definitely the working man group, and it's nice that we can get a whole season, out of a motor, and really the rebuild shouldn't be that much money. I mean, $5,000-$6,000 is definitely reasonable for what we're doing, and it's good because he's really in tune with what we're doing. If we have any issues, he's right there for us. He's a phone call away, and we talk things out and just trying to improve. I mean, we're definitely close, and we can just see on video where Derek has a little bit more than we do. So I think a lot of that's probably me still learning how to kind of drive these things and read the track a little bit where I need to put the car. But he's part of it. He likes being on our team, and I'm very fortunate that he's with us.
Gotcha. Who do you think your biggest influence in the racing was?
Probably my grandfather. He's it. I mean, he caught the bug early on. I mean, he was 14 years old drag racing in center towns and stuff, and so my mom never got the chance to race, and then I came along. I was kind of like, the son he didn't have, and 3 years old, I had a long cart, and he had a track all out, and he was it. I mean, he worked on it. He bought all my equipment when I was little, and I mean, he was the travel. He just did everything. So really, everything I learned up to the point of me really kind of going on my own was because of him. So.
And he owned car. You said he was a car owner for years.
Yeah. So he worked for Grumpy Jenkins when he was real young. So he was working down there. I think he worked there like 2 years, and then they actually wanted him to go like with the team, like go travel with the pro stocks. And he's like, no, he's like, I got a family, and I need to stay home. And from there, he actually went into modifieds when they were Gremlin bodies, and a couple times Kenny Brightwell drove for him there. And then he did that, and then gravitated towards micros. So he started racing with a couple guys. I know he had Stevie, Colby Walmer, Timmy Buckler drove for him. Him and Colby actually did 358s together for a little bit, and then when that kind of, they were just like, hey, this might be too much money than what we're used to. Then they came back to micros, and then I kind of came along. So he had micros, and he was trying to run me. So he was burning both ends of the stick to be racing.
And he owned some of the cars that you ran, or?
Yeah. So he had all the Quartermage stuff was his. Pretty much all the way up, and then like I said, we're gracious that Stevie let us borrow his 270, so we did that for 2 years, and then my parents ended up we were purchasing a 600, so we had those for 2 years, and then from there it's just been what I could do of networking and talking to people, and just trying to do my best.
Up to this point, what's your greatest memory of racing?
Man, I just racing at the Chili Bowl. I mean, it's, like I said, it's just like an atmosphere, no other. I mean, I know guys are like, Knoxville National's the pinnacle, but you just don't understand just the energy that's in that building when you're racing. Like, you roll down that hill on Saturday and you're, up in the, getting close to the A main, and you just see the fans, see the lights, see everything, and you know you're doing something, whether wrecked first lap or whatever. If you're in a C main there, you've done something.
Is it hard to breathe in there? I've always wondered that. I never went. I always wanted to, but
No, I don't think so, but I think it's definitely smart if you go get some fresh air every once in a while. I mean, I think, the fumes definitely, wear you down, but yeah, I mean, the chili bowl flu is a real thing, and there's, guys that make little airbornes and vitamin C and this, to try to combat it, but, it affects everybody differently, but I mean, I didn't even know Motorama can get pretty bad too.
the Harrisburg crud's what we always called it. So now we were talking before the show, and you had told me about when your first time in a quarter midget, you actually run somebody over.
Yeah. So at the time, Stevie was racing for my grandfather. So they got all planned out that we borrowed one of Timmy's quarter midgets to go see if I even liked doing this. And of course, Stevie being Stevie, he's trying to get me to do it right. So he's walking me out to the wall, and I didn't want to go in the wall, so I politely ran over his shoes and crushed his feet. So I don't think he'll ever let me live that one down.
Yeah, he wasn't hurt though.
No, he was all right. He's tough.
And I'm sure you've got idols now in racing, like someone that you.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little bit different because I'm a huge history buff. So I really like guys like Jim Nace, Kenny Weld, Jan Opperman. Obviously Stevie's been such a great mentor for me. So he definitely gets categorized and being a part of that group. And it's nice that even if we're at the same track, I mean he'll be right there, being like this is where you messed up, or hey, you ran good this lap, but the other lap it wasn't as good. So. Yeah, I've really gravitated towards the history, so it's nice to know these guys.
Stevie's ran just about everything that could be run, at least open wheel. I know USAC Silver Crown,
Yeah,
everything.
He even ran a micro with Volkswagen shocks on it.
Really?
Yeah, that was with my grandfather one time. They had a bent shock, and nobody had anything there, so they ran down to like a Pep Boys or something and just bought a shock and put it on. I was down at airport.
Your car number, I don't think we even.
The 21R?
Yeah, we discussed that. And
That's their number. I mean, when Stevie started, they picked that, and there was no reason for me to change it. That's their stuff. They can.
yeah,
they
no,
can
I
do
didn't know if
whatever
there
they
was a
want.
significance to it, or.
I mean, I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
I never heard the story, but yeah, I mean now, everywhere we go, people know that car. I mean, it definitely stands out, with the purple and the yellow, and Steve does such a good job. I mean, just obviously having a body shop, he makes sure everything fits right and perfect, and
I was just painting mine the other day, and Wilbur stopped in, and Steve, he's one of them. He's a rusher. Like he rushes. He painted,
like a rattle can guy, just.
Oh yeah, he painted his frame the other year. The shit never dried. Like you could touch it, and there's fingerprints. He said, that's so I know who was around the car. But anyway,
There you go.
so I was sanding the other night, and I painted. Of course, he says it looks good, but like I don't have the patience. Like you have to have patience to paint stuff.
Yeah.
And the sanding's the biggest thing. Like I don't have patience to sand that down and wait for it to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like it feels smooth, and then you paint it, and it's like. But luckily, I got a good lettering guy and graphic guy that
Yeah,
covers most of
he's
that
close
stuff.
to home, isn't he?
Yeah, he's close to home. He covers most of that stuff up. So
No, BJ does a good job. If anybody's looking for BDB graphics,
yeah,
I mean,
Bruce is
he's one of the best out there in our area.
yeah. He'll probably yell at you for putting his name out there. He says he wants to cut
Yeah,
back.
well, too bad. That's what he gets.
So there's no significance. In what number were you in all your other years before you drove for him?
Originally, I picked 22. Why? I don't know. My mom said, "What number do you want?" I said 22. We've had 29, but I mean, really over the course of what I've raced, I've lost count of what numbers. Just you get the chance to drive for so many people, and a lot of it early when I was just trying to get my feet wet was a lot of one-off nights. So I was just fortunate to say, I got to drive for that guy one time, and then. I think the ultimate goal is to definitely find a home. So I had some homes for a little bit, but yeah, obviously my longest tenures, with the Riccionis.
Gotcha. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, or where do you want to be in 5 years?
I'd hate to say. I'd love to be a 410. I think we definitely have to maybe find a partner, or maybe join forces with somebody with that. And it's not that wouldn't say we wouldn't want to do it, but it's expensive, and I know Steve's a smart guy. I mean, he's been in business for 35 years, and been a good business owner. So he's very smart with how we spend our what we have for racing, and we're just not going to go broke doing it, and nobody wants to either. So. For what we do now, I'm very content. I'm appreciative of the races he gives me. It's definitely enough for, my work, his work, and, trying to, balance it all out. So, I'd like to. I'm definitely eager to, have the chance to sit in a 410. And, I see these owners and they're, picking California kids. I mean, you lost that 21 ride to
Yeah, I did
Dominic
get
Selby.
screwed out of that ride.
So,
I like, if I had to pick somebody other, Dominic's, I don't know if you ever got the, he's funnier than hell.
yeah, no, Dominic's good. We've chatted for numbers of years. It's funny. When we were in micros together, we had like the same chassis guy, and he actually got hurt, and I almost had to fill in for him at the shootout, but the doctors cleared him before, so
Damn
that's all
doctors.
right.
Yeah, yeah. I got stripped out of that ride. I seen it, and I thought I had it. And
Yeah. Well, maybe all these owners will stop picking people out of the state and start looking. I mean, you can't knock that Derek doesn't deserve the chance to sit in a
Exactly.
top-notch
Yeah,
ride. I mean,
exactly.
they put their time in. I'm glad to see that they're gonna test the waters. I mean, how he has the experience of 410 stuff. They're gonna learn it, but to not look at Derek and go, hey, this kid can go to Port Royal. He can probably fit right in with Lincoln and especially Williams Grove. I think it's definitely a missed mark.
yeah, Derek's definitely underrated for. I mean, last year he showed his talent, but for years though, he's in that 360 deal. Before he came through, he was phenomenal. So yeah, hopefully they start not giving him away so much. And then we lost to 24. He was giving everybody some rides, but we ended up losing them. But I don't know who.
Well, we can't knock Mike. I mean, he's had a long tenure.
Yeah.
Really starting with like Johnny Mackison and everybody. I mean, look at his time with Corey Haas. He definitely gave guys.
Never called me though.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, all they got to do, if anybody needs a driver, call me. Like, that's what they need to do.
Yeah. We'll have to get you a resume or something. Business cards.
Yeah, I'm gonna start handing them out at Lincoln.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never got to drive. When I raced lawnmowers years and years ago, that's where, I didn't where it started, but like I got to drive for somebody then. But since then, little one-offs like Gene Epley, I've ran for him. Steve was my car owner for a couple races. But
And you're still buddies afterwards?
Yeah, actually, that car wasn't fast enough to brake. No, it was. I had wrecked mine up at Path, and there was like 2 or 3 more points races. And I'm like, dude, I ain't worried about it. He's like, no, you need to. So him and his guys got all ready. I went and picked it up, and then I think I ran it 3 races, and I finished good. I actually beat him one time, and then I think I finished 4th, and he finished 5th or something. But
as long as you beat him, right?
yeah. But yeah, it was cool to drive. But that was my main goal. Like I'd love to drive for some, not all the time, but like not have to dig in.
It's different because you get what I like about it is not to say like, oh, you're stealing knowledge, but I know me racing for different people. It's allowed me to be more open-minded about things. This guy might do it this way and it works, and this guy might do it totally opposite and it works. And to sit there, feel those cars out, to learn what they're doing and be like, huh, so it's just there is ways to skin the cat on these things.
Yeah, and the parish calling Dominic Selzy, you know what I mean? Like of all people, here I am. I mean, you would probably we couldn't fit the same seat, but I mean, you could fit in my seat probably, be a little tight.
Yeah, might be tight.
But no, that's
how many
cool.
couch cushions I'd have to have.
Yeah, my wife's a big Dominic Selzy fan, so, which is unbelievable. Like I didn't even know she knew who he was, and then we watched the race, and she's like, "Oh man!" And they announced. I don't remember if it was Knoxville or something last year. He was announcing, and she's a big fan. So when she found out he was coming to the 21, she's like, I said, it kind of sucks because that was our bread and butter,
Right.
They wanted me in it when Monteith was in it, but I didn't want to take that ride from Monteith.
You're so busy with your own stuff.
Yeah, I didn't want to take that ride from Monteith, but.
And I think, like you touched on it there, like she knows who Dominic is. Like, it's so important to have these companies like Dirt Vision and Flow. And, I know there's always it keeps people away, but Like I would, I wouldn't know who Dominic Selzy is if I didn't see that. I wouldn't
Right.
know with Calistoga or Silver Dollar if I didn't get to see it. And obviously I think too if somebody tunes in and really likes it, I think they're gonna go.
That's what I was
the
just going to
track.
say. I think it's going to help in the long run too,
Yeah.
because, like, especially if you watch like Kokomo and stuff, like some of them little tracks, you're like, man, I want to go there. The Chili Bowl,
Yep.
any of that kind of stuff. Make sure, like East Bay, we were talking last year, and of course we had mishaps last year. We were going to go this year. We were going to go, like, do a Volusia, East Bay, and Bubba Speedway, which would have been just last week or the week before. We were going to go. Of course, it didn't happen, but next year we're gunning for, whatever we can get down there. I don't know. Someone said Bubba might be closing up.
I think East Bay.
Or is
Bay's
it
on the
East Bay?
list. Yeah.
Yeah, so might have to skip one of them, but
That's all right. Volusia and Bubba's, you'll get a good experience. You'll learn what Florida dirt is compared to what we have up here.
and I've been trying to talk her into. I said, look, let's just find a sprint car roller, and put a motor together and just get down there and run wingless.
Yeah,
I mean, while we're down there, we might as well do it. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. Maybe your buddy Steve can let you borrow some things.
wow, Steve, I hate to. You have to bend
Show 'em
everything.
up.
You have to bend everything straight to use it. But no, Steve. Actually, I beat him with. He left me borrow a right rear one time at Path. We were starting side by side. It's 30 laps. That's when the three. I don't remember what series that was. That might have been the 360s or something. That
Okay.
Come up there a couple years ago. Kurt Michaels was like running
Yep.
it. The winged 360s. And I'm like, dude, I don't have a tire to go 30 laps. I'm just putting this one on. If I go out there and it lasts 30, good. He's like, well, here, take this one. So he took one off of a wheel. We put it on. And ended up winning and beating him with it. Best feeling in the world. You could beat a guy with his old tire he was going to throw away. Which, I mean, it was still had good laps on it, though. But
Yeah.
that's how everybody is in racing, every
Yeah.
division. Like, I know I watched, which I know a lot of guys in the 358s now because they moved from sportsman's up, like Justin Foster.
Yeah,
He's an incredible kid. Like,
yeah,
and his dad, Greg's a good guy. But they just, like, I'd rather go to the Grove and watch the 358 race than a 410 race. Well, all but for last year.
yeah. I think we all knew what outcome it was.
Yeah, but, so, wins. Do you have any wins in the 358?
Not yet. It's getting darn close.
How about the 600?
Yeah. I'm Path Valley, Linda's, Greenwood Valley, all over. It's good. When you have years, and especially when you like go up and like when I ran the midget and then would come run a 600, it was like slow motion. So anytime you can hop in something faster and then get back like down into a micro, you're more apt to be able to like put the car where it probably shouldn't be, but you can make it work. So yeah, I mean, really, same thing until Steve. I bounced around a lot, so when you do bounce around, it takes a little bit to start gelling with things. But yeah, I mean, once I got with Steve with his camp, I mean, we were knocking for wins every week.
And I know you were last year, and hopefully
Yeah,
a couple. Where
Yeah.
did you finish at Path last year in that race?
I think 8th. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it was a close race.
And it was tight. It was up against the fence. It was like really the only line. I mean, like I said, I had fun. The heat races were great. I think we went like 8th to 3rd in that. I think as we do more there with John, I think he's going to learn what that track's going to need for like having like fast cars on there. I mean, obviously he has experience having these 410 shows now, but especially when that August show comes. I mean, it's just tough. It's hot. They have a lot of classes up there, but like I said, from the standpoint of talking to everybody, they really liked it, and I really liked it. It was just like I said, it's nice to go somewhere where you're not like just wide open. It was racy.
Now, Clinton County, is that wide open racing up there?
I don't think so. Like for 600, you're definitely wide open, but kind of we wanted to go to the 410 show up there, but we just couldn't make it in time. But the one corner is really tight, so especially for big cars, they're gonna have to get woed up for that. And if they can get the track just to be a little towards the slick, I think that would help out too. But surface wise, I don't think they touch tires at all up there.
And are you going to dabble in the 305s this year at all, or?
Yeah, that's the plan. We're waiting for engine parts, just probably like everybody else. So, we're Danny Yadashak at DMY is getting that ready for us. So, we're letting him do his thing, taking his time. We want to make sure everything's right. And so that guy, he's out of Jersey. I met him at the Chili Bowl, and he called me, I think at the end of 18. It's like, hey, put a car together. It took me 10 years, but it's ready. And it's been great. Pat's really good to me. He listens. He's been around the sport. He's helped out a lot of people. One of his good buddies is Kevin Nagy. Kevin Nagy won like every Mass 305 show. Did wonders last year. So I'm hoping we can maybe get down to like Bridgeport or New Egypt. I mean, they have some shows at like Big Diamond with the Mass. So we'll just see when the time comes.
Gotcha. Folks, don't forget, you can call in 717-334-3000. We got about 5 to 7 minutes or something. So definitely call in. Or Facebook Live. You can message or comment on there. We'll get some questions into him. So yeah, and you already explained you like a wet heavy on.
Well, not wet heavy. I mean, you just want kind of slick to, a good sized cushion. I mean, that's just going to give you, the best races, especially too if there's, just something on the bottom to work with. Not saying I want it dry slick at like Grove Report, but you don't want to be barreling in the corner and it's all rutted up and super heavy. I mean, especially the Grove, like you get pointed down in there. It puts on such a load on the motor. It's really hard on the equipment, on the parts. I'm not wishing that it'd be slick every time, but there's just that happy medium where, it works out for everybody.
2 grooves, that's
Yep.
At least 2 anyway. But, all right, well, hopefully some people call in. I'm about out of questions here. I don't know if there's anything you want to say that I missed or
No, I'm.
You said you weren't married. Do you have a girlfriend?
Yeah. Carol's probably back home watching. She's been a long time supporter. She puts up with a lot. I mean, I'm just.
Who's your favorite driver in the 358s?
Hers. Whoever wins, probably. No, she loves Donnie shots. She's a big Donnie. Just kind of how Donnie works and how he is at the track. We're Sheldon fans just because they have Pella and we have Huskies, but. She likes Stevie too, She's been around Stevie a while and, just how he is and, how charismatic he is with us. So, she's never went racing. Her first race out, I won. And I just had to like tell her, I'm like, this doesn't happen all the time. Yeah, like don't think that this is gonna, be an every week occurrence. But no, I mean I'm probably gone 6 out of 7 days, getting home late, sometimes midnight and she just takes it in stride and, worries about the things that I can't get to, and it's a good balance.
No kids? You don't know?
Yeah, no, just two
Huskies.
wild Huskies. Yep, they keep us on our toes.
No hobbies?
Yeah, like I said, not really. I mean,
No hunt or fish?
No. I mean, our big things, just getting out and, being out, not like hiking, but, taking the dogs for a walk and, obviously, having my parents down in Florida, we try to get down there to see them a couple times a year. But unfortunately, our world's racing, and it's been that way since I've known, and since she's been around. So
Now, is your grandfather still around?
yeah,
Still involved?
yeah, he actually owns a modified over at Grandview.
Gotcha.
I think. Blaine Braceland's going to race it for him this year. So they're probably going to start down at Georgetown.
Well, let him know I race modifieds too.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I didn't, but I will.
Oh, you will. Well,
Yeah.
I think you'd fit really well in those. They're pretty big cars.
Now, is he running modified that the seats on the left are in the center?
Center, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of tin for me to crawl over without smashing.
Right. No, he's always been a modified guy. Loved them, and once he retired, he's like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. He's like, I don't care what it's going to take. So he's got a small block and a big block. And he does not, try to, race a ton. But, when he gets out, he wants to go. He wants to have fun.
Gotcha.
So, like I said, I think their first race is going to be the Georgetown race.
What year did you start racing?
2000. So this is be 23 straight years. So I was 4 or 5. Just haven't lifted the pedal since. How many years you got?
I started in think it was 2000 maybe.
Yeah.
Might have been 2002. It was either 99 or 2000.
So we're both seasoned vets now.
Oh yeah, I started in the 270s. I think,
Okay.
and like my grandfather raced back in like the 60s. Pete Lanker, I don't know if you ever
Okay.
heard of him. And like my dad always took me to the races, and he never raced, but I mean, we always talked about like, oh, let's build an enduro, like the old 200 lap enduros. You know, I was only 12 when we wanted to do that, and ended up finding a micro and 270, bought it, went racing, and then 2003 I think is the last year I raced at, 2002 maybe.
Okay.
So it was probably 99 I started racing, and then
When did you do the super sport or the sportsman's?
I started out in 2015.
Okay.
My first time in one was 2012 at Baps Motor Speedway, which was Susquehanna then. I took Dave Conrad's out. I was going to run that Saturday at Susky, and he's like, well, he asked me to. He's like, you want to run it? I'm like, yeah, I will. Yeah, so let's go do a practice. Luckily we did, because I ran the first 10 laps great, came in, went out the second 10 laps, and ended up launching it off the front stretch wall. Took all the lights off the front stretch.
So
They closed practice.
yeah, did Troy help you how to drive those? Cause
Troy Rome?
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
I know he's done some good ones.
Yeah, last year he was going to be the first wingless show down at Baps. I mean, he did really good. Like,
Yeah.
He ran double duty. Then this year, I don't know that he didn't want to run it or what his problem was, but he ran. He got the green flag at the flag stand, made it the whole way to turn one, jumped the car. So yeah, he definitely is. But they're good people too.
Yeah. They helped us when we were transitioning into the 358. Stan had a bunch of wheels and gave us a really good deal on it.
He's a great guy.
You know, I know if I ever need anything, he's right there.
Yeah, if you ever need backup, that's the guy I'd have to.
Yep. Yeah.
He's freaking huge, like
Yeah, exactly.
8'2". But yeah, like they're good people, and I know he ran for 358 for
Yeah.
a couple different times. But the last time he did good, I don't even think he wrecked much.
No,
But yeah, Troy closes his eyes. Any picture you see with Troy in the car, his eyes are shut.
I see that.
So, anything we didn't touch on? You want to?
No. Yeah, other than check out High Side Apparel. They stepped up. They're going to sponsor all of our heat races. Actually, it's a funny story. Me and TJ got into it one night at Action Track racing speedsters, and obviously, we figured out it wasn't any of our fault. And yeah, so I've been helping him. He wants to bring his business towards Central PA, so we'll hopefully have some High Side Apparel. He was at Motorama, so he said that a lot of people, were up and noticed that, hey, I know you're sponsoring, all these races at the Grove. So, yeah, he's doing good with that. So, like I said, check out High Side Apparel.
Who'd you say owns that?
TJ Mayberry. He's Tom Mayberry's kid.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Tom Mayberry was the guy who did all the racing with Zemco when they first started. So he did the modified and he did a little bit of the sprint car. So TJ's his son.
So High Side Apparel, folks, sponsoring. And just remember to support anybody that supports racing, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah. I mean, that's what me and Steve try to do. Anybody who we know definitely sponsors a track or car, that's where we bring our business.
What's your favorite chassis to run?
We have Maxims now, and Dan and Ron been great to work with. So I don't foresee us really changing.
they
Can't
work.
get cars. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys winning in them. But, well, folks, we're about out of time here. So next week's guest is going to be Michael Markey. We used to run Wingless Sportsman, but now he's into the ARDC midget. So tune in 7 o'clock next Wednesday for Michael Markey. And then the following week, we got a really good one for you, but I ain't breaking the news yet. So thanks for tuning in. See you guys next week. Thanks for coming out, Tyler.
Yeah, thanks, Luke.
And we'll see you next week.